Alright, so I remember when ParaNorman came out, I wasn't really interested in it, didn't think of anything that I would like. Boy, was I wrong. I really enjoyed this movie. I might have to show this to my son, because I think this would be alright for him. He's 10 years old, he's alright. It's PG. I'll be watching it with him. This movie, wow. It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not going to the moon, but I really did enjoy it. And I remember being iffy about this. These kind of films like this, Kubo and the Two Strings, Coraline, I feel like I need to get Coraline. But if I do that, it's going to extend my thing, because they're a Shout Factory. But maybe eventually down the line I'll get Coraline. But, so ParaNorman tells of this kid named Norman, right? He can talk to ghosts. And I like how they do it real subtly. The movie just starts. He's watching some zombie movie in the living room with his grandma sitting on the couch. She asks what's going on, and he gets called in to take the trash out, right? And his grandma's like, "Oh, tell your dad to turn the heat up. My feet are cold." So he goes in there and he goes to take the trash out, and he goes, "Oh, grandma says to turn the heat up. Her feet are cold." And then you see the dad fall off the ladder, and they're like, "Your grandma is dead." And I'm like, oh, okay. And that's not the only thing they do that's kind of subtle in this as well. It just, yeah. And I will say that there are moments in this movie that maybe for an older teenage audience, like there's a scene where Norman's sister goes to Norman's friend's house to ask if he's seen him, and the kid's older brother answers the door in a towel, and you can tell from this teenage girl's face, she's like, ooh. And then, like, I'm like, okay, that's a little teenage humor, but kids that are around my son's age, like 10, they'll just go over their head anyway, because we're watching Boy Meets World, and there's some stuff in there that is teenage humor, goes over his head. He doesn't know about that stuff yet, so he doesn't worry about it. Goes over his head. That'll go over 10-year-old's head if they don't care. They just want to play with the toys or watch the movie, kids movie. Yeah. So the story is that there was this witch that was cursed. Oh no, that put a curse on this town that all the people will die. That people will die, and if people die, they come back as spirits. And Norman's the only one that can see them. And to break this curse, he gets talked to by John Goodman, the guy John Goodman plays, Pendergrass, whatever. And you have to read from this book, and you think it's like a spell book, but it's actually a bedtime story to put her to sleep, I guess. Because it turns out, and I found this to be dark, so it turns out that this witch is actually the same age as Norman, and I think he's actually related to Norman, and that's why he's the only one that can do it, because I think Pendergrass is his mom's uncle. At least that's what it says on Wikipedia, but so he has to read this story to her to put her to sleep. He does eventually succeed, and everybody respects him and stuff. I do love the little quote-unquote twist where you have all these zombies coming after him, and you realize it's just the judges that sentenced her, and they want him to read the book, and they're not actually going to hurt anyone. I thought it was kind of cool. But I will admit that after the initial first few minutes, it did kind of drop for me. I was busy rearranging stuff, moving stuff around a little bit, but I was paying attention to the movie. But it was during that I found myself wanting to move stuff around during this part. Once it picked up, like 3/4 of the way into the film, I was sitting watching the rest of the movie. So it picks up, but it's just that lull, towards the beginning, when they're setting everything up. It works, and then there's the thing with Pendergrass and everything, and it just kind of just goes down a little bit of low when they're trying to find him. And I noticed the last thing I remember really paying attention to was the older brother in the towel thing. And then I hear about, we gotta find him and stuff, this. And then once the zombies start going, I was paying attention for the rest of the movie. So, yeah, there's a little lull there in the middle, but Otherwise, not too bad. The voice acting in this, I picked one up right away. Well, two up right away. But one of them, when the dad was talking, I'm like, I know that voice. Who is it? And I realized, Jeff Garlin. And it was Jeff Garlin. And then when Pendergrass showed up, I'm like, that's John Goodman. I can tell John Goodman's voice. That's John Goodman. Apparently, Cody Smith McPhee does the voice of Norman. His older sister is voiced by Anna Kendrick. The kid's older brother is Casey Affleck. The bully is McLovin. And that's another criticism I have, is that Norman was about to read from the book, and he had like a short amount of time to read from the book before the curse started and the witch was risen. And he was about to read from the book, and the only reason he doesn't is because the bully shows up and takes the book away from him. That's lazy writing. You could have done something else with that. That's lazy writing. Or we gotta have something happen. The bully takes it from him. Why not him go to read it and, I don't know, something besides a bully? It just, bullies, and I've said this before in other stuff, bullies are lazy writing. They put bullies in stories to push the story along because they don't have any other way to do it. Like, a bully locks the guy in the place where the stuff is about to happen. Or, bully takes the book away so he can't read it and stop the witch from rising. Bullies are plot pushers. That's all they're useful for. And I don't really think it was necessary to do that, but every time a bully is going to be in a movie, I'm not going to like it. So, it's going to be a negative. But this was actually pretty good. The stop motion animation in this, from the beginning to end, I thought was fantastic. Just the way it looked. When I first started, I'm like, oh, it's a stop motion. For some reason, I thought it was computer animation stuff, but it's stop motion. Really cool. I don't know if they actually do that stuff with computers now and just have a way to animate it like that, or if they still do that shot for shot moving stuff. They haven't figured out a way to do it without having to move puppet stuff. I don't know. But, yeah. One more thing I want to talk about. Subtlety again. For those movies trying to broadcast, we have a gay lead, or this movie will feature a gay character. What they did in this was so subtle with the older brother, where the sister was basically hitting on him the entire time, and at the end she's like talking to me, he's like, oh yeah, I'll tell my boyfriend about that. And it's like, yes, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You don't need to font it the entire movie. You don't need to broadcast it. This is going to be a gay character. You just, have that one line of dialogue. That's how it works. That's how you do it. And then this came out in 2012, before everything needed to be broadcasted, so it works. And yes, I think this was like a first-time director, but I think he did a pretty good job, again, except for the lull and the need to have a bully in there. Other than that, I thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, ParaNorman, in my opinion, is pretty good. So, so what are your thoughts on ParaNorman? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.